Earlier this week, Philadelphia Eagles center Jason Kelce announced that he was retiring from the NFL. It was a beautiful ceremony. In 45 minutes, he announced that he was walking away from football and that he would always have Philadelphia in his heart. A lot of tears were shed. We got to reflect on the life and the legacy of Jason Kelce, and it was a ceremony that will be remembered by all those who watched it and all those who attended. This ceremony was not that. Welcome, everybody, to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jaguar 9, representing the 904 from the 602, and today we have retirement news, and it's some of the most laughable news I've seen. Johnathan Cyprien, remember him? The Jaguar safety? He announced that he is retiring from the NFL, and he did it in just about the weirdest way possible by signing a one-day contract to come back to Jacksonville and officially retire as a Jaguar. Now, usually when people sign one-day contracts, they had a good career in Jacksonville, or they had a good career wherever they were, and they made a lot of memories there, and were a great player there, and it's a way to end their career on a high note. Cyprien, he started 60 games in Jacksonville over 4 seasons, the second-round pick out of Florida International. He wasn't that good. He didn't do anything of note. If anything, he was noteworthy for how bad he was, and how often I was cursing his name because of how many missed tackles he had, and the angles he took, and some of the coverages that he blew. But this isn't really about that and my thoughts on Cyprien. It's more of the absurdity of the retirement itself. First off, Cyprien hadn't played pro football since 2020. His last game in the NFL was November 15th, 2020 with the San Francisco 49ers. He announces his retirement 3.5 years after his last game. The last time he played in the NFL, again, middle of November, we had not lit the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree for the 2020 Christmas season. It was that long ago. And it's not like he was trying to get back into football. He had been retired for a long time. You see this tweet from August 10th, 2023, just about 6 months ago, where he was talking about how summers used to be training camp, and now they're vacations. And he seems to be pretty happy about that, seems to be content with his new life as a real estate agent. Now, here's what Cyprien had to say about Jacksonville and why he chose to retire as a Jaguar.
Why was it important to you to be able to retire as a Jag?
I mean, this is where it all started. It's kind of like when you go to a college, you can never lose your alma mater. Same thing when it comes to the place that drafted you. Duval is so special. I mean, you come here and it's ingrained in you, Duval. And I'm happy to say that I can always say it and I can always stand on that because for the most part, the city loves me here and I'll always be back to help the community.
And I'll leave a link to that reporter's Twitter bio in the description, so go check his stuff out. He's got some really good stuff, covers the Jaguars really well. But here's the thing. Look, I get that Jacksonville might mean a lot to you. I get it. But dude, you signed with the Titans. You signed with the Tennessee Titans a few years ago. After free agency started in 2017, on the very first day of free agency, you chose to sign with the biggest rival that the Jaguars had. And you said that you were going to help make it the greatest thing that Tennessee's ever seen. Now look, I get that pro football is a business. I get it. But it's not as though you were traded there. It's not as though the Titans were the only team offering you a job. You chose to leave the Jaguars in free agency and sign with the biggest rival they had, the enemy, on the first day of free agency. It's almost like if a guy plays at Duke for 3 years and then grad transfers to UNC and then comes back to Duke as an assistant coach and talks about how special this place is. Like, I don't want to hear it. You went to UNC. You went to their biggest rival. Like, you get why this is a problem, right? It's not like Johnathan Cyprien left the Jaguars to join a team like the Bills or join a team like the Broncos. No, you willingly left to join the Titans. So I don't necessarily want to hear the fact that you think Duval is special and that it's a part of you. I mean, it might be a part of you. I'm not denying that. But how you feel a part of this team. You left to join the biggest rival. And on top of that, you might be saying, well, he left. Maybe the feelings changed afterwards. No, look at this tweet from him in 2022. He said, hashtag tighten it up. In 2022, he was retired for 2 years by this point. He was not on the Titans. He didn't have to tweet that out. He could have just said, happy to meet my fans, or just a simple retweet, or nice meeting you, or pleasure talking to you, something like that. But no, you had to use the hashtag tighten up. Even though you were not on the team at that point, you were not employed by the team at that point. I don't want to hear it about you yelling Duval. I don't want to hear it. You went to the Titans and you still have a soft spot for the Titans. Again, I don't want to hear it. On top of that, you talk about how Duval is special. You don't even live in Jacksonville. Your business is in Miami. It's like 6 hours away. And you didn't tweet about the Jags once in 2022 or 2023 or before this retirement ceremony, the last 2.5 years. You tweeted about a lot of other teams. You tweeted about a lot of other games. You didn't tweet once about the Jaguars. So I'm not sure what to believe with Cyprien. I honestly don't know. This whole situation is just very, very bizarre. And what's crazier about this is that you would think that if the player signs a one-day contract to retire with your organization, that the organization would acknowledge it. But nope, look at the Jaguars' Twitter feed. They have posted nothing about Johnathan Cyprien. The most recent tweet was on March 5th about the franchise tag situation with Josh Allen. They have tweeted nothing about Johnathan Cyprien. If you notice where the thing is taking place during the ceremony, it's taking place outside the gates of the stadium. So I don't even know if he was allowed into the stadium. The Jags aren't even acknowledging that this was a thing that happened, which makes this even crazier than it already is. And this is where it gets even crazier, because he asked fans if they want to show up to this retirement ceremony of his, meet him outside the stadium as he's going to sign the one-day contract. So he puts on this jersey that he didn't even wear. This is the current jersey from the 2018 season. He played with the Jags from 2013 to 16, so he didn't even wear a jersey that he actually used. And then you look at the crowd. You pan out to the crowd. Again, it's the same reporter that interviewed him. And you pan out to the crowd. There's no one there. There is no one in attendance. It's so funny. 15 people showed up, one for every game the Jags won during his time there. I mean, it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. It's one of the weirdest and most bizarre retirement ceremonies I've ever seen in my life. Because, again, number one, the man was retired for 3 years already. He had no intention to come back to football for a long time. Number two, the Jags welcomed him back with open arms, even though he left the team in free agency to join their biggest rival. Number three, he talked about how much everything with Jacksonville meant to him. Again, he joined their biggest rival. And number four, he was not that good and did nothing of note in Jacksonville whatsoever. So, Sip, congrats on your retirement, I guess? You've been retired for a while. You seem to be doing well. You seem to be crushing at the real estate business. So I don't think anything really changes. I'm just confused, that's all. No hard feelings. I'm just very, very, very confused. But that's going to do it for this episode of JG9 News. What are your thoughts on Johnathan Cyprien announcing his retirement from the NFL, which I think we all thought he was retired anyway? Any fond memories of him in Jacksonville that you might have? Because I sure don't. But if you have any, let me know in the comments down below. And again, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check my main channel, Jaguar 9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is Jaguar 9 signing off. And as always, go Jags. And never tighten up.